investigation into custody.
That wind's coming in at a good clip from the south. However, we are now the recipient of way above average temperatures, the latest from the Skywatch Weather Center.
Also, NASA counts down to the launch of its new space telescope.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
The search ends for a Fort Scott man wanted for questioning in the death of his mother. This is KOAM News at noon. I'm Tanya Bach. Topping our first 7 minutes, police now have 23-year-old Dawson Mitchell in custody, but are holding him on unrelated charges. KBI says Mitchell is a person of interest in a double murder case in Fort Scott. On Tuesday, the Fort Scott police responded to a 911 call from a resident who found their family members' bodies. KOAM's Bronte Sorotsky has the latest on the murder investigation.
It's pretty quiet. We hear occasional hot rod running by, but really not much. Anytime there's any activity downtown, we're close, so that kind of we catch that. But yeah, it's pretty quiet.
The community of Fort Scott was put on high alert Wednesday when news of a double homicide broke. Michael Cheney lives nearby the house where the murders occurred and says he didn't know what was going on at first.
My first notice was a police siren that I heard, and it just went for a second until he stopped up there. It wasn't too long until my niece, I have a niece that lives with us, so her friends had heard it. So it was the grapevine is how we heard it. And so they contacted her and she contacted us, and then another friend sent me a text.
On Tuesday, the Fort Scott Police Department received a 911 call from a resident at 402 Main Street who came home to find their family member had been shot. When police arrived, they discovered 48-year-old Melissa L. Mitchell, who had died from a gunshot wound, as well as 53-year-old Leonard D. Zimmerman dead in the home. The victim's son, 23-year-old Dawson J. Mitchell, is a person of interest wanted for questioning.
Yeah, the police, of course, around the house confirmed something was going on with the crime tape and all that.
Mitchell was arrested around 1 p.m. Wednesday for theft of a firearm, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, and unlawful possession of controlled substances. In Fort Scott, Bronte Sorotsky, KOAM News.
At last report, Dawson Mitchell has not been charged in connection to the murders. We've got wind in the 4 states
yeah, we
today.
do.
Definitely do. Mike Laslip joins us with the first look at the forecast.
A couple gusts have already gotten up into the upper 20s. Not going to be surprised if we don't see lower 30s to 35 miles per hour this afternoon. But what does it do? At least it comes in from the south. If it were coming in from the north, we would have a different story on our hands, but as illustrated by the wind arrows there. And what that does is that map isolates everything above 15 miles per hour. So that is consistent as far as what we're seeing. Flip side of it, once again, because it does come in from the south where they have warmer temperatures down from the Gulf up through Texas, means that as we sit at the noon hour, and we're able to pull this off with substantial cloud cover as well. We're already up to 54 in Joplin and Carthage, though 49 up there in Chanute and Parsons, 55 in Miami and Neosho. So that is hard to beat for December, seeing as how we should only top out about 46 degrees. Weather trend, we'll wait for those clouds to part just a little bit. We'll get a peek of sunshine every now and then later this afternoon, early evening hours, but remember it begins to set just shortly after 5 o'clock, and then overnight the clouds will reemerge. I would love to tell you that this wind is going to die down just a little bit. However, that will not be the case. As a matter of fact, waking up tomorrow morning with additional wind gusts of 30 miles per hour, but that jump starts our day as we'll already be in the 50s overnight and make our way into the 70s for Christmas Eve day. Coming up here in just a little bit, Tanya, we'll push in not only through Christmas Eve day, but all the way to Christmas as well, and also take a look at some developing travel concerns that are starting to appear out on the western half of the United States.
All right, something to look at. Thanks, Michael. With just 2 days until Christmas, millions of Americans are already on their way to holiday destinations. AAA says more than 109 million people will travel 50 miles or more between today and January 2nd. More than 6 million are expected to fly. That's 184% increase from last year. Health experts continue to urge people to take all necessary precautions, vaccinations, masking, and social distancing. The Biden administration announced it is forgiving federal student loan repayments for another 90 days. The government has been putting off student loan repayments since the pandemic began, But that moratorium was set to expire at the start of the year. The White House says it is extending the forgiveness period because of the surge in new cases brought on by the Omicron variant. Kansas Governor Laura Kelly wants to give residents who pay income taxes a one-time rebate of $250. Governor Kelly says these rebates are possible because Kansas has been collecting more in tax revenues than expected for months. The Republican-controlled legislature would have to approve the plan, and GOP lawmakers are expected to have proposals for ongoing income tax cuts instead of one-time rebates. The next annual session begins January 10th. Her proposal would provide $250 to individuals and $500 to married couples filing jointly. About 1.2 million filers would receive a total of $445 million. That's a look at today's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Up next on KOAM News at noon, the biggest and most expensive science instrument is about to be sent to space. We take a look at what's in store for the James Webb Telescope. And later, we're making seared scallops with Newburgh sauce in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. NASA is counting down to a Christmas morning launch of the new James Webb Space Telescope. At $10 billion, it'll be the biggest and most expensive science instrument ever sent into space. And it could help answer some of our most pressing questions about the universe. But as Mark Strassman shows us, hundreds of things have to go right before the telescope can capture a single image.
From its perch a million miles beyond Earth, the James Webb Space Telescope will glimpse the dawn of time like nothing before it.
The universe is this 13.8 billion year story, and we're missing some key paragraphs in the very first chapter.
NASA astrophysicist Amber Strawn hopes Webb's discoveries will fill in the blanks.
You're talking about potentially answering some of the questions that have occurred to people since the first people looked up at the stars.
Absolutely. We don't know how galaxies got their start. We will hopefully be able to see those first galaxies for the very first time. And of course, galaxies are the homes of stars, and stars are the homes of planets, and planets, of course, are the homes of life.
Webb's 18 gold-plated hexagonal-shaped mirrors will align to create one giant mirror. It's 21 feet across, 6 times larger than the one on the Hubble Space Telescope. For more than 3 decades, Hubble has given us stunning, humbling views of the universe. But Webb will be a major upgrade. Like a night vision camera, this infrared telescope will search for heat signatures of the very first light after the Big Bang. Mike Menzel is the Webb's mission systems engineer.
We're looking for some of the faintest objects that there are to see in the universe. In fact, we are looking for the faintest objects.
To block the sun's heat from blinding Webb, engineers designed a first-of-its-kind sun shield, the size of a tennis court.
This is material, this is Kapton material that makes up those layers of the sun shield. This material here is about 2/1000 of an inch thick.
Yeah, it's amazing how much responsibility something this thin has.
Yes, it is.
Right?
Yes.
And because that sun shield is so big, it and everything else had to fold up to fit inside the rocket. Once in space, Webb will carefully unfold and rebuild itself like robotic origami.
It'll be 2.5 weeks of high anxiety.
Project manager Bill Oakes.
It's more complex than any satellite NASA's ever launched. It is hands down.
If any one of 344 parts fail, the entire mission could be jeopardized. About 1/3 involved deploying that sun shield, 1,300 feet of cables, almost 600 pulley assemblies, and it all has to work.
A million miles out, something goes wrong, there's no call in AAA.
No, that is no call in AAA, but I am confident that we did everything we could on the ground to maximize the probability of success of this mission.
Webb's first images about 6 months away, worth the wait for the chance to see baby pictures of the universe. Mark Strassman, Greenbelt, Maryland.
Still to come on the KOAM News at noon, Mr. Food.
You asked for it, and today we're dishing it up. I hope you're hungry. I know I am.
But first, Michael Hayslip returns with your complete forecast.
About the past 22 days, we've talked about how warm our December has been so far. We know we've got a chance to break a record coming up on the 24th. Haven't talked a lot about the cold temperatures, but I thought this That kind of stuck out like a sore thumb this morning on the Daily Almanac. The record low for this December the 23rd, 15 degrees below zero back in 1989. No thank you. Now at that point, we're still looking at our average high temperature. Take our daily high, take our daily low, combine those two, divide it by 2. Still sitting at 48 degrees, and that's about 9.4 degrees above where we'd normally be 22 full days into the month. So it has been abnormally warm. I want to break this down over here because Tanya was talking about the travel really picking up today and tomorrow. So if you have any plans to make it out to the West Coast, or if you've got friends and family that will be departing from those areas and making their way to the 4 states, please know that that's where we see most of our severe weather going on in the continental United States. And it is courtesy of the atmospheric river. You really go back to about Thanksgiving. Seems like we've had about 4 to 5 instances where we've talked about the atmospheric river coming off the Pacific and just inordinate amount of rain. And of course, that'll result in mudslides. And then snow for the higher elevations there once you get into the California mountains. We had a little sunshine earlier, kind of overcast for the time being. We'll get peaks of sunshine every now and then, not a whole lot of it for the duration of our Thursday. And as anticipated, 7th and Range Line bustling as everybody's got about a day and a half left to get that shopping done. Can't imagine what that traffic probably look like at this point in time tomorrow. 54 degrees is where we stand, and it has been a windy one. Latest gust at Joplin Regional Airport clocked in at 21 miles per hour. But temperature-wise, who can complain about this? Mid-50s throughout southwest Missouri, high 40s in southeast Kansas. Let's go mid-50s as well in northeast Oklahoma. Now, the wind that we've seen sustained at 23 miles per hour, that was the highest sustained winds that we've seen so far, are actually going to increase. Not going to be one of those things where we get much of a reprieve. Even as we work from tonight into tomorrow morning, we're going to be talking about it coming in probably 30, 35 miles per hour after the sun goes down. But it has resulted in a nice little bump up, certainly not the extreme numbers that we had earlier today, but a tad bit warmer than what we had on Wednesday. And the nice thing is with the cloud cover, we stay on the dry side for those of you that are going to be out and about. You really got to roll through central Missouri, though, to find a whole bunch of blue sky. And as everything moves from west to east, these clouds will continue to roll in. And so that's why I say you see little patches right there where you're going to see a peak of sunshine. It just won't be anything sustained for our Thursday. As we get into tonight, I'm just going to call them warm temperatures, quite frankly. We should be down around the freezing mark. It is December. Look at this. We're going to bottom out at about 54 degrees. That's higher than some of the daily highs that we had in the middle of the month. And we're going to have to do it with the wind. So once again, it's really highways like 400, 126, even 44. When you get more on that east-west route, you need to be very, very careful because after the sun goes down, look at this, increasing, gusting close to 40 miles per hour there in Joplin before we can get to sunrise. And then we sit back and we talk about possibly breaking a record for tomorrow. Our magic number will be 73. That's what we're going to need to get to. We're going to be close. We're going to be really close. But if we do get to 73, we will tie the 1955 record. And then look at this Christmas Day. Kids are going to want to get out, play with everything, and it's going to be perfect for them to do so. You're not going to have to worry about bundling them up. Not going to have to worry about them coming in with a cold either. Highs around, say 64 with partly sunny skies.
Yeah, for sure. Well, enjoy it. It'll be a nice warm Christmas. And
sometimes we have to say enjoy it while it lasts, but then as you keep on down the road, you go, that's not too bad.
Yeah, can't complain about this July, Christmas, and December.
Christmas in July when something good happens. Yeah.
Christmas in July and December. There you go. All right, thanks, Michael. We take this time to honor today's 4th state hero, Army Sergeant Stephen Martin in the U.S. Army. The soldier from Parsons, Kansas, served a tour in Iraq from 2009 to 2010. He earned the Army Commendation Medal, the Army Achievement Medal, the Global War on Terrorism Medal, and the National Defense Service Medal. To Sergeant Stephen Martin, we thank you, our 4th state hero. Today's dish may be fancy looking, but it's so good you'll be tempted to lick the plate. Howard shows us how to make seared scallops with Newburgh sauce in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Every year we get lots of questions from folks who are looking for new ways to serve seafood throughout the holiday season or on Christmas Eve. It seems like more and more of you want to change things up a bit and to introduce a little variety into your menus. Well, the good news is today we're sharing a recipe that looks fancy, is crazy simple, and is so good you'll be tempted to lick the plate. We begin by whipping up a shortcut Newburgh sauce that's made by combining a can of cream of shrimp soup with some cream, a bit of sherry, and a little seafood seasoning. While this simmers, we pat some scallops dry with a paper towel and season them with salt and pepper. Now these get seared in butter just for a few minutes on each side. You'll know they're done when the scallops easily release from the pan. After placing them on a platter, we add some breadcrumbs and chopped parsley into the same skillet just to let it brown. Come dinner time, drizzle the sauce over the scallops, sprinkle on the buttery breadcrumbs, and there you have it, a dish that's holiday special and is made start to finish in just minutes. To get the recipe for our seared scallops with Newburgh sauce, check out our website. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a fancy schmancy way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
You can find this recipe along with a lot more good food from the Mr. Food Test Kitchen online. Just go to our website at koamnewsnow.com. Here's a look at our 4-state market prices.
Even with the lack of sunshine today, still able to make it into the low 60s. Remember, it's going to be windy overnight into Friday morning. And then sit back and enjoy temperatures that are going to be up into the 70s tomorrow afternoon.
Wow.
All right, what do you have coming up tonight at 5?
Well, at 5, more than 17,000 people in the U.S. suffer a spinal cord injury every year. Those who require a wheelchair may find getting a regular workout to be a challenge. In Health Watch, how new technology is helping them to break a sweat. Plus, the lights and sounds of Christmas bring a lot of shoppers to a local Christmas shop. But what happens after Christmas? We're going to speak with the shop about keeping customers after the holidays and a look at the new Missouri paddlefish regulations. Yeah, all that and a lot more. It's all coming up on KOAM News at 5.
All right, thank you, Dow. Thanks for joining us for KOAM News at Noon. We'll see you right back here at 5 o'clock.